Hi, good morning, everyone. Great to see you here all again. It's been a couple of weeks since we last had our previous training session, so it's good to see such a really high turnout, and thank you to those who are joining in today, and for also being flexible in the change in schedule for our online training sessions as well. So just to reiterate to everyone here today is that the online training sessions will certainly now be on Tuesdays rather than Wednesdays. However, they will still be from 6 o'clock Paris time as per usual. So just to reiterate, always on Tuesdays for the 0600 session Paris time. So we can get started. I'm really excited to deliver this training topic to you, which is a focus on Germany. Germany is certainly one of the most exciting places. I personally can attest to this as well. One of the most exciting places to travel to by rail, not just landscape, the scenery, but also the different types of rail products that we can recommend to our customers. It's extremely easy to book, German trains, and there's a wide range of things that we can recommend to people who are interested in traveling through this area. So we'll get started with our agenda today, which in this case is, so what we'll look at today. Why Germany? Why? What are the benefits of traveling in Germany? What can you recommend your customers to get them excited in traveling to Germany? And what can you offer to them in order for them to really maximize their time while they're traveling to this fantastic destination as well? I'll take a quick look on what it's like to travel on an ICE train. So one of the most exciting things about traveling by trains is experiencing how different countries, obviously offer their very premium high-speed rail services. So we'll take a quick look into seeing what inclusions are available on board, what it's like to travel in these services, and so on and so forth. We'll also take a quick look at the different train tickets affiliated with Germany, such as German rail passes, and also the point-to-point fares, such as Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares. Depending on whatever level you are at in terms of booking these through Euronet, I'll do a quick, very short demonstration to show you how these are booked, just to get an idea of, how the procedure works with these as well. And then finally, I'll just clarify a couple of last little things, for night trains in Germany and how they operate. So today is just going to be a very light overview on, focusing on Germany and what Germany has to offer for us and for our customers, and we'll go from there. Just to reiterate to everyone, as per usual, all of the sessions are recorded. So if you are arriving a little bit late into the session or you'd like to listen to it again at a later stage, we're certainly updating the training recordings documents available in MyRail Europe in the training library, so that you can always go back to the previous sessions and listen to them again for your own, personal learning as well. And just throughout the session, and everyone's done it right now, but I may as well mention it anyway, I'll just be putting everyone on mute just for now, just so that we don't get any, background noise while this training session is going. However, as per usual, please do feel free to ask questions during the training session, and if I can answer it at the time when I'm going through the training program, I'll certainly do my best to do so. But as per usual, I'll also have a question and answer session at the end of the training program today as well, so that I can answer as many questions as possible, and you're welcome to stay, you're welcome to go, that's completely up to you. But the question and answer session at the very end of the training will also be recorded, so that will also be included when you listen back on the recording at a later stage. So let's get started. So why Germany? So I've compiled a couple of points and discussed this with other, Rail Europe staff members on why they would pick Germany as one of the most exciting destinations that you can go to by train as well. So the first point is that Germany has extremely bewitching scenery. It has some of the most dramatic landscapes, across Europe, whether it's dramatic mountain peaks, beautiful lakes, and very dense, deep and mysterious forests. All of that can be explored through such a diverse country like Germany. And of course, Germany boasts some grand architecture dating back to centuries and centuries old, with its deep historical roots embedded in European history and culture as well. If you have passengers who are really interested in exploring a country, not just for its history or its landscape and scenery, something really exciting that you can recommend to your customers is to really involve themselves in the gastro delights at the Christmas markets. And this also includes, having, beautiful warm wine when you're walking around the Christmas markets, warm biscuits and different types of food that you can try of the local cuisines. And even off-peak, when you're not, sorry, not off-peak, my apologies, but even during the other seasons when traveling through Germany as well, it's a fantastic country to really explore the local cuisine and some interesting, tastes there as well. Thanks so much for those who are joining. I'm just going to, for those who are just joining right now, I'm just going to quickly put you on mute. Thank you so much. Sorry, bear with me as I manage that one as well. But certainly please feel free to ask questions during the training session as per usual. And then lastly, Germany is extremely rich in history, as I may have mentioned before. You can explore a range of different cathedrals and castles throughout Germany, and the most well-known castle that everyone may have seen at least a picture of at least once or twice in their lives is the Neuschwanstein Castle. So that beautiful Sleeping Beauty castle, which can actually be accessed by train very, very easily and comfortably by taking a quick 2-hour journey from Munich as well. So Germany has an extremely diverse landscape and culture that I'd certainly recommend anyone to travel to once in their lifetime, not just for the diversity of it, but furthermore for exploring it all by train as well. So traveling by train is certainly the best way to travel to all of these different checkpoints to explore Germany as well. So to begin with, the next thing that we'll have a look at is traveling on ICE services, or the benefits of traveling by train throughout Germany. So what we've prepared for you right now is just a quick little video to highlight that, to really show what it's like to travel by train in Germany and the benefits of it against all other modes of transport too. Oh, I think that the video is frozen. So, oh, okay. Perfect. Apologies, there was a couple of technical glitches there where the video kept on stopping, but it's pretty obvious to see that traveling by train in Germany is not only the fastest way to travel across Germany, but also the most efficient way to do it. If you're traveling by plane, you're going to be dealing with some lengthy connections like checking in, waiting in queues, and the general overall procedures of traveling by plane are a lot longer and more tedious in comparison to traveling by train. If you're driving around Germany, it's certainly you still certainly get to enjoy its fantastic landscape and scenery, but incidental things like traffic, navigating yourself in a very foreign country is also something to take into consideration. So obviously the answer to that is to travel by train. It's not only extremely efficient to do so, you get to kick back, relax, enjoy the scenery, but not have to do any driving at all or any work in your holiday at all, if that makes sense. But traveling by train in Germany is extremely easy and efficient and extremely punctual as well. You might have noticed in the video earlier that the passenger who was traveling by train seemed to be very carefree, relaxed, and really enjoying himself while he was traveling on train, and even was able to show his tickets or his electronic tickets on his phone. So that's the fantastic side about traveling through Germany by train. And this leads into my next topic to discuss what it's like to actually, travel on an ICE train. So some points to consider for those who've never traveled on an ICE train before. Number one is that it is the fastest and most comfortable way to travel on the Deutsche Bahn network. I guess just to give a quick little background on the ICE train services, I'm not sure, I think a couple of weeks ago, we had our last online training session on European high-speed trains, and the last train that we did discuss was the ICE services, which are the primary high-speed train that operates throughout Germany as well as beyond Germany as well. So ICE train services have both first class and second class available on board, and they're certainly the most, the easiest way to travel throughout Germany as well. So it is fast, comfortable, and extremely efficient. Another thing about traveling by train in Germany as well, and on these ICE services, is that they do offer the highest standards of excellence in engineering and punctuality. I myself traveled in Germany about, I think it would be 3 years ago now. I traveled to Munich, I traveled to Berlin and to Frankfurt, and not once did I ever encounter any scheduling conflicts or any delays on any of my train services. If anything, there was a situation where, just going back, like to tell a little story here, I was traveling by train from Cologne through to Amsterdam on an ICE train service, and I was quite concerned because at one point in the journey there was actually a disruption on my train line. What we had to do was that we had to get off the train and then wait for the next ICE train to arrive because there was a problem with our train for some reason. But the amazing thing was that we were waiting on the platform for no more than 5 minutes for our replacement train to arrive. So in effect, my train left, in the afternoon, but still managed to somehow arrive at the same time I was supposed to have, even if my train had been delayed and disrupted. I don't know how that happened. However, it's just a testament to show that even when traveling in Germany, when you're traveling on the ICE trains, if there are any delays, it's something that gets taken care of so well in terms of punctuality. So they really value that in the service that they deliver to their customers as well. So traveling on an ICE train, the great thing about traveling on ICE services is that they link to nearly all major German cities at hourly or 2-hourly intervals. So there are many choices for you or your customers to choose from when you are planning their itineraries and schedules. So if, for example, you are traveling in the high season, so in the summer periods in May, June, July, and August, if, for example, a train has sold out in terms of its reservations, that's absolutely no problem. There are always other departures for your passengers to choose from because all of the departures depart on an hourly basis. So very frequent and very efficient for us on a reservation side as well. And the best thing about traveling on ICE trains is that they're not a purely domestic rail service. They offer international access to other countries beyond Germany. So it makes things easier to connect to other neighboring rail services and to really explore Europe in full instead of just Germany as well. So international access is on the ICE services offers links to Switzerland, Austria, Belgium, France, the Netherlands, and even Denmark as well. So there are so many different places that you can travel to on an ICE service. So what's it like on board the ICE trains? So the image that I'm showing you over here is just an example of what the first class seats look like on an ICE train. So just a little bit of a trivia for you before I continue any further. ICE, we don't pronounce it as ICE train, we actually pronounce it as ICE, particularly because the ICE stands for Intercity Express. Just a little bit of a fun fact for you there. So what the ICE services offer on board their trains is that they offer live travel information. So when you are traveling on the ICE trains, it shows exactly where the train is at and what the complete route is, so that you know exactly where you are while you're traveling. It's one of the most fun things to do, because I know, coming from Australia, we don't have this information on the trains that we travel on, so it's a very exciting thing to add in so that you're always aware of where you're going as well. So they also offer luggage racks on all of the ICE train services to offer ample space for storage and bringing in your extra luggage on board the train as well. So just a bit of a side note, when you are bringing luggage on board the train, this is all self-serve. You do bring it, your passengers will bring it on the train themselves, but and this is just a standard offered in Europe, but there are luggage racks available overhead and also within the compartment and in the middle of the vestibules as well. So there's always plenty of choices for your passengers to leave their luggage, and plenty of space so that they can keep their eye on their luggage and monitor it at all times for safety. The best thing about the ICE services as well is that they offer enough space for wheelchair users too, as well as ample bicycle spaces. So whether or not you're traveling for leisure, for work, or for anything at all, Deutsche Bahn, the main operator of the ICE services, have really thought about have really considered a customer focus when they are offering their services on the ICE trains too. They even have family and toddler areas in select parts of the train, because the train is not simply just for business people, but it's for families and leisure travelers, and anyone at all is welcome to travel on the ICE services. When you're traveling in first class, of course, you will have leather comfort in first class. And next up, what I will be going through is an individual breakdown of what it's like to travel in first class and second class on board the ICE train services. So this is the, I didn't realize that this slide didn't have all of the information, but this is an example configuration of the second class compartment on an ICE train. So second class compartments on ICE trains have more space for families, in that they have spaces for, I don't know, in Australia we call them prams. I think in other countries you would call them strollers. But there's enough stroller space for storage on board the train if you have families traveling together. And then you'll also notice that the seating configuration changes from a 2-by-1 seating configuration now to a 2-by-2 seating configuration, where there's even, in this little section over here, you might notice there's a table in between, so that you can either have 4 people sitting together facing one another, or even get to socialize and meet other passengers while you're traveling on the train as well. Just moving across on the floor plan of the train, you'll notice that there's also a private vestibule around about this area, which is called the toddler compartment. This should actually be moved to point around here, I realize now. But the toddler compartment is great because it offers a little bit more privacy, particularly for families who are traveling in larger groups together and traveling with younger children. So the toddler compartment is a closable door, offers a closable door, and can seat up to 5 people in the seating area, but still has ample room behind these actual seats for your stroller, any luggage, and anything like that as well. And like I mentioned too, there's certainly a lot more comfort for wheelchair users on board the ICE train services. So you'll notice that the seating configuration and the seating upholstery is a bit different in second class. You still get to enjoy a really comfortable seat, but the difference is that in first class you get leather seating, but in second class you still get comfortable seating nevertheless, but with comfortable regular upholstery too. So it offers more comfort for wheelchair users, in that this space is actually a dedicated area for wheelchair passengers to travel on the train service itself. And then furthermore, there's even a lot of space for bicycles when you're traveling on the ICE trains. Traveling by bike or taking your bike with you is a very common thing to do when in Europe, and it's a really great thing to even recommend to your customers as something that they can offer, that they can take into account when they're traveling in Germany too. So that was just a very quick and brief overview of the between first class and second class on board the ICE train services. And something that I didn't mention in this slide over here as well is that the first class services, or basically all ICE trains, do have Wi-Fi available on board. And I can personally attest to this as well, but when I was traveling on the ICE train services about 3 years ago, it certainly had the strongest and the fastest Wi-Fi available on board. So it's certainly something to really, you know, take advantage of when you're traveling on longer train journeys while your passengers are enjoying that scenery too. So that's what it's like to travel on an ICE train and what they do offer on board. The next thing that we'll take a quick look at is what products can you recommend to your customers when, if they are interested in traveling throughout Germany. Of course, the one product that I would certainly recommend for anyone who's doing extensive travel throughout Germany is the German Rail Pass. So I'll just zoom in a little bit more into our text over here. But with the German Rail Pass, there are two different kinds of German Rail Passes available. You have a German Rail Pass Flexi, where you get a designated amount of days to be used flexibly within a 1-month period. So with the German Rail Pass Flexi, you have your 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, or 15 days to be used within a 1-month period. So it's fantastic for anyone who wants to travel flexibly and comfortably within Germany, within a 1-month period. Another type of pass that Germany does offer is a German Rail Pass Consecutive, where you can have a 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, or 15-day consecutive rail pass. A really good way to travel around Germany just as flexibly as well. The only thing is that it does have a specific time frame in which you do need to use those days of travel. Something that I will remark is that when you're traveling throughout Germany, and even on the ICE train services, although they are high speed, seat reservations, just to reiterate, are not compulsory on any ICE train services or any German rail services. Certainly, they are highly recommended, particularly in the summer periods. However, if you do have a German Rail Pass, it's certainly a really good thing to offer your customers that seat reservations don't always have to be booked if they do want to travel as flexibly as possible. So let's look at the different passenger configurations available on German Rail Passes. So something that I would like to remark quite quickly as well is that the German Rail Passes are, although they're a fantastic product, bear in mind that they're not a Eurail branded product. So the rules of you know, adult fares, youth fares, and things like that may be a little bit different to the Eurail counterpart. So with the German Rail Pass, they have a German Rail Pass Twin, which allows 2 people traveling together at all times to benefit from a discount. So for example, in Euronet, the price is quoted per passenger. Just bear that in mind. So there is no saver formula that is available for the German Rail Pass. So just to reiterate, normally, and I'll step away from the German Rail Pass very briefly, normally when you're booking a Eurail pass, like a Eurail Global Flexi Pass, they do have the adult saver formula where you can have 2 to 5 people traveling together at all times to benefit from a discounted price. But if you have a German Rail Pass, because it's not a Eurail branded product, the way that they issue this saving formula is a little bit different because they call it the Twin Rail Pass. So it really only allows 2 people traveling together at all times to benefit from the discount. So if you have 3 adults traveling together, you could offer 2 passengers, 2 adults on the German Rail Pass Twin, but then that 3rd passenger would just have to purchase a regular adult German Rail Pass price, okay? Okay, now continuing on, there is a youth formula available for travelers from up to 12 to 27 inclusive on the first day of travel. So just bear that in mind, that the age of youth is from 12 to 27 years old inclusive. Oh, I think I may have accidentally jumped back to the wrong slide. So what does the German Rail Pass include? It does certainly include unlimited travel on trains operated by the Deutsche Bahn and on the national rail network of Germany, inclusive of Salzburg in Austria, particularly because Salzburg is considered as a border station, and also Basel-Bad in Switzerland as well. So like I said, it includes travels on the network, and seat reservations are not compulsory, but they're highly recommended wherever possible, particularly for your longer journeys, so that your customers don't miss out on the seat reservations and the journeys that they wish to travel on as well. I'd certainly avoid trying to book any seat reservations at the railway station. If they're interested in confirming a seat on the train, certainly try to book it in advance for them to avoid any disappointment. So with the German rail passes, there are first and second class rail passes available as well. So I'd just like to bring your attention to something on extranet as well. My apologies. Just going to bring this up on the larger screen. If you would like to know anything much more about the German rail passes, I'd certainly recommend for you to go directly through to extranet and find more information under European travel passes and then German rail passes. Particularly because with the German rail passes, again, they're not URL branded products, so they may have different inclusions available. But the product fact sheets on German rail passes or anything at all in extranet is certainly going to be the most helpful resource for you to use when you're offering this to your customer as well. So any additional information is that with child rules, children aged between 6 and 11 can travel for free with a child pass when you do have a German rail pass as well. So certainly use this as a really great resource. And just a little bit of a tip as well is that you can actually download this product fact sheet by clicking on the little red icon in the top right corner, so that you can keep a copy of the product information on your computer desktops and use as an additional resource at a later stage as well. Okay, so those are the German rail passes. But now I will look to a different type of product that you can also recommend if your passengers do wish to travel throughout Germany. I forgot to mention, with German rail passes, they do offer some fantastic bonuses. So bonuses include travel on S-Bahn services, and for those who are not familiar, S-Bahn services are not necessarily metropolitan train services per se, but they are from city to suburb, smaller, more local trains where it's not possible to book a seat reservation. They're more suburban trains that operate from out of the city into the suburbs, and certainly if you have a German rail pass or even any Ural pass that includes Germany, this includes travel on the S-Bahn services. No seat reservations are possible, so passengers would simply jump on board the train and present their rail pass as their documented form of travel. Some additional bonuses that the German rail passes do involve is travel on the KD Rhine line, historic highlights of Germany, and the romantic road motor coach. So these inclusions are fantastic add-ons to your German rail product, or German rail itinerary, because it offers a more rounded out itinerary rather than just simply traveling and exploring everything by train, which isn't a bad way to travel by Germany, I would say, of course. But if you also want to know more about the additional bonuses as part of the German rail pass, certainly check the product fact sheet, or PFS as I abbreviate it, on extranet as well. So what you can do is on the German rail passes section of Rail Europe's extranet, if you have access to a computer now, feel free to have this up and open with you so that you can read through while we're going through the training session as well. But in the right-hand section of the content, you can click on bonuses and it will display all of the additional bonuses and the percentage discount that is included with the German rail pass. So just bear in mind that although these are bonuses, some of them may only be percentage discounts, not completely travel for free. Just bear that in mind. Okay. I'm just double checking. Okay. No problem. And as per usual, thanks to those who are currently entering questions throughout the training session in the chat box. Certainly, I'll do my best to answer these if I can during the training session, but I'll also, I won't forget you, I will be answering these in the Q&A session at the end of the training program as well. So let's continue on. Now, so things to remember about the German rail pass overall is that it is not a Ural pass, so the bonuses and discounts are going to be slightly different. And bear in mind that it does have a twin pass discount, however, they don't have an adult saver formula like the Ural passes do. It's not, they don't have the 2 to 5 adults traveling together discount, it's just on a twin pass discount basis. And another thing to make quite a clear note of is that because the German rail passes are not URL branded products, when you are printing these documents, do make sure that you're packaging it with the appropriate Rail Europe ticket cover, not a URL pass cover, because it is not a URL pass product. Okay? Okay. So we looked at German rail passes, offering some fantastic options to travel flexibly throughout the German rail network. Now let's look at the point-to-point tickets available in Germany, namely specifically the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares. So Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares, just to give everyone a little bit of a background, these would have only been implemented maybe in the last 4 to 5 years from memory. I know that when I first started working with Rail Europe, within Germany, traditionally it was quite expensive to travel throughout Germany. Without a rail pass, because these Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares did not exist beforehand. But once I go through the individual types of fares, you'll see why it's so much more cost effective nowadays to offer a point-to-point, as well as, I should rephrase that actually. Traveling by point-to-point tickets with the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares is certainly is almost comparable to traveling with a German rail pass. So with the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares, I'll just break down a couple of different concepts, and then like I said at the beginning, I'll do a quick little demonstration to show how these are booked within Euronet as well. So with the fares booked for the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares, there are 2 different types of fares which can be booked. So the first one that I will focus on is a spar price fare. So what this means is that it is a discounted offers discounted point-to-point travel within Germany and also Europe as well. So it is discounted, however, bear in mind it does have a specific date and time in which the ticket must be used, okay? Additionally, we have our flex price fares. So flex price fares offer flexible travel at any time, however, within 2 days on a specific route on Deutsche Bahn's complete network. So there are 2 different types of fares, but something that I will remark quite quickly here is that with the spar price and the flex price fares, no seat reservations are included by default. This does have to be booked separately as a separate ticket. And just to really reiterate, first-class seat reservations are complimentary, whereas second-class seat reservations are at an extra cost, okay? And this is if you're booking Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares. So how about we do a quick little demonstration of how to book Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares. Let me just have a quick look. I think someone asked a quick question, which I'll address really quickly here. Can German passes be printed in PAH? The answer is no. It really is just E2 paper for these types of products. Okay, so German rail passes, not these, can only be printed as E2 paper in Euronet, just to clarify that answer for you. So I'm not sure if everyone has access to the chat box. What I am going to do is I'm going to do a quick little demonstration of the following sector. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a comparative price and sort of demonstrate how to book the following train journey, which is from Berlin, from Berlin to Hanover, and I'll see what the price is for 19 August 2018. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a comparison between the prices of what it would cost to travel in a spar price fare, a flex price fare, and then also on an open ticket and seat reservation basis, so that you can really see where the prices vary for point-to-point fares. Okay, so I'm just going to open my Euronet right now. The first one that I will try to search for is a normal open point-to-point ticket price for Berlin to Hanover on that day. So as per usual, I'll go straight to new bookings, and this will really give us a good idea of how different the varied pricing is there. So I'm just going to do a test date here. I'm just going to make this a test booking. And so if you're looking for regular German point-to-point tickets, not necessarily the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares, you would normally search for the open tickets and the seat reservations through point-to-point schedule search, okay? So I'm going to try Berlin to Hanover. And we're going to do that for 19 August 2018. And I'll keep my time to about like 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's see how much the price of the ticket is. So the journey is about an hour and 37 minutes. So we can use this to compare our pricing. And don't worry, you don't have to write down the pricing. I will write down the pricing in the chat box so that we all have a record of everything. But say, for example, my customer wanted to travel on this train and on this date. If they have an individual open ticket in first class, oh, sorry, I'm just going to mute people's microphones so we don't get any background noise. Thank you so much. So if I wanted to travel in first class from Berlin to Hanover, my open ticket is going to be, I'm just going to note all of this down. The open ticket in first class is 122 euro. And the seat reservation, which is at an extra cost, is going to be an extra 9 euro. Okay, so that's price option 1. So 9 euro for seat res. Okay, I'm just putting the pricing in our chat box. Okay, so just a little bit of for some information for you. If you have a European open ticket, this is not a Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fare. European open tickets must be used within the 4-day validity period. Okay, so they certainly have a wider flexibility that you can use. And bear in mind, these open tickets can only be issued as E2 paper. So that's price comparison number 1. Now let's look at how much it would cost to travel on this exact train at 8:51, but through Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares. Okay, so to search for the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares, these can't be searched for in schedule search because they won't open up that way. The only way for you to find Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares is to search for them in search by price. And there is a little bit of information that you have to enter when you are doing the search by price function, because you have to ensure that you're selecting the appropriate inventory so that the prices that will populate for you will actually show as the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares. If I don't change this, I will get the exact same price that I entered in the chat box. So I want to pinpoint those Direct Connect fares. So I select DB because DB is for Deutsche Bahn. And I want the same service. I want Berlin to Hanover. And as per usual with price search, you do have to make sure that you're entering the appropriate station names, otherwise nothing will actually populate. So I have Berlin to Hanover, Berlin HBF, Hanover HBF, 19 August 2018, for 2 adults. I have to select retail, and I want to see how much it costs to get first class tickets to compare with the prices that I've just entered in the chat box there. Takes time to populate, so we'll find out a little bit more in just a moment. Okay, perfect. So we've got some interesting prices here that we can compare. So if I'm looking at, I think it was the 8:51 train that we had earlier. Oh, my apologies. I'm going to fix that because the price that I quoted, searched for before was actually based on 1 person, not 2 people like I'd entered previously. So let me just refresh that to fix that. Okay, so let's see how the prices compare. So we're going to start by comparing the flex price and then the spa price. So flex fare, or flex price, currently I'm seeing the flex fare for 121 euro, okay? So I'm just going to go flex fare, and I'll enter this in the chat box as well. Flex fare, 121 euros. But then for the seat reservations, bear in mind, like I said, seat reservations are separate to the actual flex fare and the spa price. So in order to book that, if you want to book it, you have to select flex fare, but you still have to actually scroll down to get the reservation. So I select first class there. And you'll notice that to book a reservation in conjunction with a first class Direct Connect fare, it actually costs nothing at all. It's free. However, you do need to make sure that you purchase this at the time, okay? So in this case, let me just, where's that? So seat reservation is €0. So far we have a good comparison in front of us right there. Now, what if we were to compare the spa price fare? The spa price is the cheapest one out of all of them because notice that it's 41.90 euro. So, and then you pay virtually nothing for the seat reservation as well. So spa price is 41.90 euro, and then the seat reservation is €0. So notice now that I have all of these three different prices that I've entered through the chat box there, that Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares are extremely, more cost effective, and they're not all that hard to book. But do bear in mind that these types of tickets don't have quite a large ticketing time limit in comparison to a normal open ticket and a normal seat reservation. If anything, these must also be treated almost as instant purchase because they don't really have a hold period. But of course, that's the benefit of having a little bit or more of a restrictive fare and offering a more competitive pricing for those types of tickets as well. Okay. So, but do bear in mind that although you might notice when I was searching for those Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares, the seat reservations cost €0, bear in mind that seat reservations in first class are complimentary. All of the examples that I'd searched for in the DB Direct Connect were in first class. If you do have passengers traveling in second class, seat reservations are going to be at an extra cost. So I'll just quickly show you right here. If I were to search for the same service again, if I booked in second class, the price would populate for the seat reservations. So let me just scroll a little down. The reservation is incurring an extra cost already, you might notice. And it just defaulted to two adults, which is not what I originally wanted, but I'm just going to change it to one adult so it actually shows the appropriate pricing. Okay, cool. So seat reservations in second class are still an extra cost. They're not complimentary if you're traveling in second. So there we go. Okay, perfect. Let me just continue on from here. When you are booking the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares as point-to-point tickets, certainly they're a much more preferable option for your passengers, not only for cost-effective reasons, but generally for the Direct Connect fares. I may just take a step back a little bit. You can choose from a couple of different ticketing options when you're booking these through Euronet, okay? So generally these can be booked either in TOD or in E2 paper format. And TOD, just to recap for those who may not be as familiar, TOD fares are ticket on delivery or ticket on departure, if you like to call it. Basically what will happen is that as soon as you book and purchase these Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares, automatically Euronet will issue you with a PNR number within the booking summary. So in that booking summary, once you do have that PNR number, the passenger then has to go to the railway station, enter the PNR reservation number, and collect their actual tickets at the railway station within Germany. I do believe that it is still a better option for you to try to book these fares as E2 paper wherever possible, just because we've had issues and problems in the past where there have been cumbersome issues with collecting the tickets at the railway station when booking as ticket on departure, just in case. However, they're both options for issuing documentation, which have their own benefits and pros and cons as per usual. Okay, so just something to note about the Deutsche Bahn Direct Connect fares. Bear in mind that with SPA price fares, they do have basically what this means is that a SPA price fare with a saver fare, although it doesn't automatically come with a seat reservation, if you book a SPA price fare as a standalone train ticket, you must travel at the time and on the train that is stipulated on your ticket. So for example, let's use this ticket as a little test. So this ticket is for travel between Hamburg and Rothenburg, and it's issued as a SPA price fare. Now, in conjunction with, if my passenger wanted to get a seat reservation for this ticket, the seat reservation and the confirmed seat number would actually appear on a separate piece of paper. The SPA price ticket is separate. But because the SPA price is a saver fare, it does mean that they have to travel at 8:03 because this is what is printed on the ticket, and to travel on train number ICE 91. They can't use this ticket like an open ticket or a flex price fare. You do have to use it on this train time and specific train number. I'm just going to, I think I can hear a little bit of microphone feedback. I may just quickly pop someone hold. Thank you so much. So just to reiterate, SPA price fares are not flexible tickets. Okay, now just another thing to remember on a side note, with the German trains, there are no more City Nightline train services. So now we're going to talk about night trains. So with City Nightline services, they used to predominantly operate within Germany and beyond, but now they operate as night jet trains or OBB night trains from Austria, Germany, Switzerland, and Italy. And for those of you who were present for the night trains training program that we had a few months ago, I think at this point, we did cover this quite briefly, but that's completely fine. I'm more than happy to cover this a little bit more here in this training session as well to reiterate. So I like to show just a really funny little video of what it's like to travel on the OBB night train. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you might have just seen in that quick little video, I just like to show that to show the amount of space that there is available on the OBB night trains because they're really comfortable and fantastic services to travel on in general. So OBB night trains have since replaced the a lot of the City Nightline train operators, where they operate in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Croatia, Hungary, Czech Republic, and France and beyond. So with the OBB night trains, they have different types of sleepers available, where you have a deluxe sleeper, a first class sleeper, a couchette T6 sleeper, or even second class seats available on the train. So depending on the type of, the type of compartment your passenger is looking for, it is quite likely that the OBB night trains have this type of compartment for you. So just to really break it down, with deluxe sleepers being the highest class of sleeper available on the train, deluxe sleepers have single, double, or T3 sleeping configurations, and T3, just to reiterate, is for T3, a three-berth sleeper as well, so with like 3 bunks on top of each other, if that makes sense. And the deluxe sleepers would also have an ensuite included in there as well. First class sleeper is the same thing, however, it does have a shared toilet and shower as well. So couchette T6 has 6 people occupying that compartment with lavatories available at either end of the carriage. However, if you're looking to travel on more of a budget, you can travel with second class seats where there are 6 seat compartments with lavatories available at the end of the carriage. So those are the overnight trains that are available to be booked, from Germany and beyond. And certainly you can use your rail pass on these services. However, do make sure that depending on the route that you're traveling on, your rail pass has the appropriate coverage for the journey. So if I have a German rail pass, just as a single country rail pass, but my OBB night train is traveling from Munich to an international destination, you do have to be aware that you must have a supplementary ticket to cover you for the areas that your rail pass does not cover you for as well. Okay, lastly, so, and we went through this in the night trains training program that we had a few months ago. So just to reiterate on the 7 p.m. rule, the 7 p.m. rule means is that if your night train departs before 7 p.m., you need to use 2 travel days on your rail pass. So the day that your train departs and the day that your train arrives. And this applies if you have a Eurail pass, including Germany, or a German rail pass. So just bear that in mind. If you're traveling on a direct night train with no connections or layovers that departs after 7 p.m., then you only need to use 1 day, which is the day of arrival. So if you depart, just to break it down, if you depart before 7 p.m., 2 days get taken off your rail pass. If you depart after 7 p.m., only 1 day gets taken off your rail pass. There is one exception to this rule, which is an overnight train departing from Rome at 1858, going into Munich and Vienna. So this is still eligible for the 7 p.m. rule because it is an exception to the rule. We're not going to deduct 2 days off your rail pass just because the train only departs 2 minutes before the 7 p.m. rule applies. Okay. Let me just see what else. And that pretty much ends our training session on a focus on Germany. Basically what we went through quite briefly was just benefits of traveling throughout Germany, what it was like to travel in an ICE train, and then furthermore the different passes and train tickets and products that you can certainly recommend to your customers, as well as an overview on the German night trains now operating as OBB night services. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you for all of those who joined in today for our online training session. For those who are sticking around for the Q&A session, you're all more than welcome to do so. We do have a couple of questions in here which I'm more than happy to go through to discuss with everyone. But if you do have any additional questions that you think of after the training session, please don't hesitate to email these through to onlinetraining@raileurope.com, and we'd be more than happy to assist you from there. For those of you who are leaving us, thank you again, and hope you have a great week ahead or 2 weeks ahead, because the next time that we will meet is going to be in the next 2 weeks. And a reminder that our training sessions are now going to be on Tuesdays, and I will highlight that in the next training invite that I'll send at the end of the week. Thank you so much to everyone. Okay, so let's go into the questions and answers, the Q&A section of the training. I'm just going to go through the chat box. We do have a couple of questions here, which is fantastic, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can of these. If I can't answer them right now, I will reach out to you directly just to ask for your email address so that we can search for the answer and get in touch with you after the training session. So let me just have a quick look. We do have one question. We have a case about the German Rail Pass. Our customer wants to use Heidelberg City Cards discount, but the local staff said no to these benefits. She wants to use the Shopping Express bus, but staff told her she can't use her German Rail Pass because she needs to buy the tickets that she sent the mail to be asked and got the same reply. And then she got the, and then you've linked to the offers there. Please see the benefits with our partners on the German Rail Pass. And if not, we shall amend the website. Okay, no problem. Lauren, thanks so much for reaching out to me about that query. I may hang on to this one for you because I'm not entirely sure how to really answer that one. I haven't actually looked at that link for the offers and the bonuses affiliated with it. However, the historic highlights of Germany and the outlet cities discount were listed even in the the extranet product fact sheet bonuses. So I'm kind of curious to see what we can do with that. Otherwise, we may have to. I may have to check that with our product team. So Lauren, if you don't mind, if you can just enter your email address directly just to me, so that I can take this inquiry and investigate it for you and get in touch with you later, that would be fantastic. If you can just enter your email privately in the chat box here, so that I can get in touch with you after, that would be great. So I'll move on to the next question and see what there is. Oh, actually no, I just scrolled down and I noticed that you have mentioned. Okay, never mind. That's completely fine. And then I think somebody queried here stating that can German passes be printed in PAH, which I answered briefly in the session, but I may as well reiterate here. But nope, German passes can only be printed as E2 paper at this stage. Okay, and then we also have, let me just have a look. Another question, what's the difference between Berlin HBF and Berlin HBF TIF station? To be honest, actually, that might be something that I may have to quickly look up now. We may as well find out together because I've never actually looked this up. However, Berlin HBF, I believe that, oh, HBF TIF, I feel like they may be the exact same thing. Let me just have a quick look. TIF, I may have to bring it down to my individual screen to find this one out for us. I don't believe that there's an actual difference between the two, to be perfectly honest. However, whenever I am booking the individual train tickets for my customers, I always select HBF because that's the main station that all of the ICE trains and all of the services do go in and out of. So I hope that answers your question very, very vaguely, but certainly I would look that up and just quickly translate it because I don't believe that they are two different stations. And if they are two different stations, my imagining would be that they are quite literally next door to one another within the city centre as well. Okay, there was another question. Oh, thank you so much. There was one person who queried SPA price. Is this a non-refundable ticket? That is a good question. I may have to quickly look that up in the product fact sheet within Extranet. Otherwise, if it's not stated there, it should usually be stated in the booking summary after you've actually booked the product itself. From my understanding is that they do have a certain carrier penalty fee attached to them. However, they may be refundable, but you may have to check that if you are booking that for your customer as well, because carrier penalty fees will be applied. So I think that's it for the questions that were queried. If there are any last questions, please feel free to enter these right now. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to email these through to onlinetraining@raileurope.com, and we can try our best to answer it from there. But are there any last questions before we finish off? No? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much to everyone who joined in today. Like I said, the training recordings are available on My Rail Europe in the training library. Our next session is going to be in another 2 weeks' time on August the 7th. So that is a Tuesday, August 7th, just to reiterate. However, I will highlight that in the next training invite that I'm going to be sending through to everyone as well. Thank you so much to everyone that joined. Have a great 2 weeks ahead, and I will see you on August the 7th. Thank you so much.